From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Bimbo Oloide.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, for the umpteenth time, the president raises hope that Boko Haram will be defeated, seeks $1 billion funding for the fight against terror. Adamawa acting governor takes charge, announces immediate release of 2-month salaries of civil servants. House of Representatives summons INEC chairman Atahiru Jega to furnish it with status report on permanent voters' cards. And Dutch court indicts Netherlands over killing of 300 Bosnians at Srebrenica.
And on business news tonight, Fiscal Responsibility Commission goes tough on ministries, departments and agencies over remittance of revenue.
And on sports news tonight, double Olympic champion Mo Farah wins his battle to be fit for the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow.
I'm Gloria Umezuke, and from Abuja, UK begins fresh investigation against embattled former Delta State Governor James Ibori.
Winning the war against terror is clearly the preoccupation of the president and his team, and all options are being explored by them to achieve success. And moving a step further, today in Abuja, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan inaugurated a committee to raise funds to support victims of terror attacks. He told the committee that the task before it is enormous, as the war against terror must be won. Our State House correspondent, Chukuma Onwekusi, reports.
The terms of reference for the committee include to identify sources and ways of raising sustainable funding to support victims of terror activities, develop appropriate strategies for the fundraising, ascertain the persons, communities, facilities, and economic assets affected by terror activities, as well as manage, disburse, and administer support to the victims as appropriate. The president describes terror as unfortunate, coming at a time Nigeria should be engaged in development initiatives.
This is not the kind of event we would normally pray for. As a developing nation with lofty dreams, I would rather be here inaugurating a committee on development initiatives. But this is the unfortunate situation where we have found ourselves because of the lawless acts of a few misguided individuals who are shedding the blood of innocent people in our nation.
The president reiterated that evil will never prevail as the war is gathering momentum.
I call on all Nigerians to stand together in support of our security agencies against terrorism. They are working night and day under difficult circumstances. It's unfortunate that when our security personnel prevent 1,000 attacks, it is the one attack that succeeds that makes headline news and tends to portray our security agencies as not doing enough. The Victim Support Fund Committee will help to mobilize collective efforts and resources in support for the victims. I appeal to all well-meaning Nigerians and non-Nigerians, individuals and corporate bodies to give generously to this fund. This is not a tax for the rich alone. Every widow's mite will count.
The chairman of the committee is a renowned general, but in this assignment he says he will not do one thing.
One thing we will not do, Mr. President, is to go to Zambezi forest. The commander-in-chief will lead. We will follow the commander-in-chief to the forest. But seriously, this war must be brought to an end. We must win this war immediately.
A minute silence was observed for the repose of the departed, while the National Security Advisor said the line has been drawn and terror will be won in spite of the constraints. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the President has requested the immediate approval of $1 billion from the National Assembly to tackle insurgency and terrorism in the country. The Senate President, who read the President's letter to the Senate, said the money would be used to upgrade military equipment of the armed forces. Other areas requiring urgent attention are in training, logistics and security services to enable the armed forces move more forcefully and confront the serious threat posed by Boko Haram.
You are no doubt cognizant of the ongoing and serious security challenges which the nation is facing, as typified by the Boko Haram terrorist threat. This is an issue that we have discussed at various times. I would like to bring to your attention the urgent need to upgrade the equipment, training and logistics of the armed forces and security services to enable them more forcefully confront this serious threat. For this reason, I seek the concurrence of the National Assembly for external borrowing of not more than $1 billion, including government-to-government arrangements for this upgrade.
No amount of blackmail and criticism will stop us from pursuing our goal for the rescue of the abducted schoolgirls. These are the words of campaigners calling for the rescue of the Chibok girls. The campaigners say they remain resolute in their demand for action from government and relevant security services.
No basis to measure the attacks against the pain of knowing that we refused to stand when we were most needed to stand. So I want to thank you for continuing to stand. I want to thank you for the cost of standing. I want to thank you for the price you pay for being the ones that are foolish enough to assume that girls who have been missing for 93 days today can still be rescued. Joining your faith with mine, I know that of a truth that should our government be compelled into decisive focus on the rescue of our girls, our government will someday soonest succeed. Before day 100, our girls should be brought back to us.
The House of Representatives has summoned the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to furnish it with progress reports on distribution of permanent voters' cards ahead of the 2015 elections. A lawmaker, Yakub Balogun, had raised a motion of urgent national importance on what he termed a haphazard distribution of permanent voters' cards by INEC, a situation he fears might result in the disenfranchisement of some voters. The INEC boss is expected to appear before the House Committee on Electoral Matters within 48 hours. Now, staying with the House, the lawmakers are making moves for the establishment of a new regulatory body to handle electricity management services with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC. This was the outcome of the public hearing held by the House Committee on Power to look into objections raised by the NERC that two regulatory bodies operating simultaneously will cause conflict besides duplicating costs. But the Ministry of Power says establishing the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Authority will help reduce the function overload on NERC.
Like I said, do not contest that a company created or created illness should exist. Now, like I said, now people will have the Nigerian Supply and Social Standard Regulations, which now clearly articulates what should happen. EPSL Act, Section 91 says the Commission may appoint inspectors certified who are not even commission staff, technically satisfied, to conduct inspection. And it's possible to do that, and what has been put, and private firms, certified engineers and design firms have applied to be satisfied to conduct their services. I want to say that it still not seem to me the logic to think that private sector focused inspection services, where expert firms will do the work, will be less effective than when a body with a history we've had of this country, of public bodies that have not performed, a body that's answerable to a ministry. I don't see the logic, and I want to urge the committee to see this point, that if we're looking for effective enforcement, a body that is created under the ministry, answerable to the ministry, will be less effective than a system where accredited inspectors inspect the network answerable to revenue.
In part 2, after the break, APC and PDP trade words over the removal of Murtala Nyako as governor of Adamawa State. Do stay with us.